Shadows to you.
No, that is Miss Peregrine. Anyway, that's a bad movie. I was so disappointed in that movie. That movie had such potential. And they squandered it. Okay, anyway.
That's why I'm saying Dark Shadows was better.
Agree to disagree.
Anyway,
hello. So, for those of you who do not know, I am Liz. This is Mike and Michelle. We got Michelle here this week. We finally figured out how to get her into this. So,
it was like a grueling process, but we finally got me on here.
Yeah, like, she had it.
Especially because I was the one who was like, we need to do Phantom of the Opera. And I was like, this was my idea. How can I not be on it? Well, and I was gonna be like crying my eyes out if I couldn't be on it.
Anyway, so for those of you who do not know, we all came up with this idea because Michelle and also Brianna is not with us today because she's not feeling well. So our hearts go out to who is private chatting me. Okay, sorry. Okay. Our hearts go out to Brianna. Feel better. She will be watching us, and she'll be in the chat box, the chat thingamababa. So yeah, and also we're not late this time because again, Michelle.
Yeah, we were late. Yeah, it was my fault. You guys were late last week. It was totally my fault. They were trying to help me.
That's okay. You know,
I'm not a technical person.
Oh, we figured. So, quick recap of what this show is. Before I got distracted. Basically, this is where we just talk about anything theater related. So last week we basically covered we had a little Q&A about people who had questions about theater. Mike had some. Brianna had some really good questions, and we just talked about it. That covered the whole basis of it. And so now we're gonna try to do this every week. Where we're gonna just pick a show. So obviously this week is Phantom of the Opera. Which is not my favorite, but anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. So we're gonna, I really only know the theater production. I'm not gonna lie, I did not finish watching the movie because it is slow in my taste and it could not hold my attention. I love the music and everything, and I respect it as a show. It's just not my favorite. It's not my go-to, and also because there's only one song technically two songs that I know from the production. But yeah, so I know all about the theater show, and these two probably know more about the movie than I do. Oh my gosh, just hurt my thumb again. Sorry, I hurt my thumb yesterday, a couple days ago. I was cutting my mom's salad, and so now it really hurts. Anyway, so first off, let's kick this off by saying, Michelle, since you know you love it so much, what do you love about Phantom of the Opera? No? Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Michelle, wait. Oh, okay.
There's times where you guys are being choppy again.
Okay. I basically asked, okay, so also Michelle's connection is not very good, so we're going to work with what we got. What do you love why do you love Phantom of the Opera so much?
What do you love about Phantom the most?
Are we really gonna do this live stream talking?
I heard Mike, and then I heard choppiness from Liz. I'm hearing Mike perfectly.
Well, it's because I talk really fast. That's probably why.
What'd she say, Mike?
She talks really fast sometimes. So she is going to have to slow down the speed she speaks.
Because even without you speaking slowly, I can understand you. It's Liz who's like, but yeah. Anyways, I really love the romance and everything. More with the Phantom, of course, than Raoul, especially after watching the Broadway play, I was just like, okay, Raoul's kind of a jerk. I didn't realize that when I watched the movie.
He is. He really is. I don't like Raoul. Okay, Mike, same goes to you.
Yeah, again, just the romance of it all between the Phantom and Christine, and then Christine and Raoul. But also, it's like the music. It's just, there's something about it that just resonates with you.
As soon as you hear that,
and it's timeless.
As soon as you hear that note from the title song, you know, like
yeah, from the overture, from the auction to Hannibal.
I will say that's one of the things.
It's so iconic. Like, it's like you said, from that first note, you immediately know what song or what overture is playing, and you know what musical it comes from.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I was doing, research on all this, and Andrew Lloyd Webber was talking about Brianna. I mean, not Brianna. Andrew Lloyd Webber was talking about how the music isn't just opera. It's almost like rock opera. And that's one of the reasons, like, I've never really fully been into opera. One, because they're singing in a different language. I'm like, why on earth do you have to sing? Why does opera have to be sung in a different language that nobody can understand?
Like Shakespeare.
That's what I really like
Italian,
about this.
right?
Yes. Like Shakespeare. Maybe that's why I don't like it so much. It's because it's like Shakespeare to me. I don't understand what they're saying. But okay. So I know you guys both, because this is my pathetic list of stuff that I wrote down about the show, whereas Mike has like 4 freaking pages, and Michelle has. Keep on.
1, 2, 3 whole pages.
Yeah, and we're not gonna go through all of it because we'd be here till tomorrow. And then Michelle also took notes, like good cast members of this series, unlike me, who slacked a lot because I was, just again not. I watched the stage production. Okay, I did half of it. A lot of my work was researching about the technical aspect of the show and the history of the show. But I did find a version in a completely different language. It was in Russian, which was really cool. So I watched part of it in Russian, and I didn't understand a word they were saying.
Did you say a One Direction version of Phantom of the Opera?
No, Russian.
Oh, Russia. Okay.
Yeah, it's been performed in 15 different languages. Some of the weird ones I found were German, Japanese, Castilian, Estonian, and Russian. And I'm not even going to bother telling you how many light bulbs they've used. Yeah, how many light cues they've used in every single production. Because there's been over 30 years. It's the longest running Broadway show for people who do not know.
And for good reason.
Played over 140 million people, 35 countries, 166 cities. And I have a whole bunch of numbers about the technical stuff. 70 major awards, including 3 Olive Awards, which is a big deal. Almost as big as the Tonys, which won 7 Tonys. And yeah, so that's just some of the stuff that I found out. 300 masks have been custom made for the actors who have played the Phantom. But the OG, very first mask that's ever been made for this production is in the archives.
Naturally. Which, for those of you who do not know, the mask was supposed to be a half-face mask, like the one on Michelle's shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But early on, they felt you didn't get enough emotion from the Phantom with the half mask, so they cut that in half and only had it cover the deformed side of his face.
like Zuko. So I watched. Okay, anyway. But yeah, so I think they decided to change that. There's a very old film, like the very first one that ever came out about Phantom, with him having the half mask on. And I actually watched that. Tough to watch because of the quality of the film, but it was very. I kind of see why they changed the shape of the mask. The way they have it now is, although Mike could be going on a rant about this, is that the 25th anniversary mask, just the way it looks compared to like what it's looked like in like actual Broadway productions, it looks so cheaply made.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like you said, there have been like what 300 different masks.
Over 300 Phantom masks.
And so maybe they made a few different options for Ramin Karimloo, who, for those of you who don't know, played the Phantom in the 25th anniversary special, and maybe that's the one that he felt most comfortable wearing.
Yeah.
Which, as you can see, Michelle owns it on DVD, and I own it on YouTube Movies.
I don't own any of it.
Mm-hmm. I had to allow Liz to use my account so that way she could watch both the 25th special and the film, because I own both on there.
And then the ones that I found, like the Russian version, I found through someone who shall not be named because of legal reasons. No, I'm just joking. Complete joke. And the old version I literally just found by searching the internet.
Yeah, wasn't that the like Universal Monsters?
Mm-hmm.
Universal Classic Monsters version of Phantom?
Yep, very not what we would expect of the Phantom of the Opera.
I think that was Boris Karloff, the same guy that played the Mummy and Frankenstein.
I think so.
Who was the Phantom?
I honestly didn't.
In the black and white version, it was Lionel Chaney who did the Phantom.
Oh yeah, Lon Chaney. That was it.
Okay, so let's get into the differences, because I know y'all have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, so all the notes that I have, I only have like 2 or 3 bullet points per scene or song.
We're not going through the entire movie, the entire production. But let's just like touch on the major, because like I said, if we do that, we'll be here till tomorrow, and I'm pretty sure people don't want to watch like a 24-hour live stream unless it's something interesting. Idea. Okay, so anyway, that had to do with the stream, so that doesn't technically violate my rule. But I just completely lost my train of thought. Completely gone. Poof out of my head. Yeah, so let's just touch on like the main, like the key moments of Jeffrey. The key moments of the production, starting in the film, starting from both the opening of the film and the opening of the actual production. So, who wants to go first?
So we're covering the film first, right?
No, we're doing them simultaneously, so that way, we can. It's a good way of showing like the differences between the two.
Okay.
So, like, starting with the auction.
We should probably talk about the. Like, we'll talk about the Broadway first, and then we'll go and be like, okay, this is the difference in the movie, or the same, or whatever.
I agree. Okay. So to make sure we're not talking, I think we go me first. You can mute me, and then Michelle, and then we'll take it to you.
All right.
Okay. So obviously one of the simpler differences, with the stage show, is that they include items 663, 664, 665, and 666, which is the chandelier in the Broadway musical, in the full musical production of Phantom. In the film, they do not. They dropped items 663 and 4 and just went right to item 665, which is a musical box that has significance to our main trio of characters, the Phantom, Raoul, and Christine.
which that kind of annoyed me that they didn't include that.
Well, I think that was because of the flashback sequences. They couldn't do the full Broadway version plus the flashback scenes because then it probably would have been like a 3.5-hour movie.
Let's be real. I would have watched it.
I would have watched it easily.
I would not have. I'm going to be honest. I would not have.
I would have.
Of course. We all know Michelle would. Okay, so speaking of the film, a little beautiful way to introduce another fact that I know that I actually learned. The sound of when the chandelier like crashed. Oh, no, is that that's never mind. Never mind. Okay, that's like way at the end. Never mind. Scratch that.
That's towards the middle and end of the show.
Yeah, I just the chandelier. Okay, anyway, sorry. Okay, Michelle, you're next.
So,
I'm trying to get comfortable here.
But yeah, like when they first introduce everyone into the opera, I love the transition in the movie. Like taking away all the I'm mind blanking right now. Why? All the dust. And it's just so beautiful. And like I love it how they transitioned it in the in the Broadway play where they were just like echoing the music and everything, and it's just so beautiful. Now in the beginning when they're rehearsing that the opera when they first come in, now in the movie they introduced Raoul there, but they didn't introduce him in the play at that moment. And I had a question, man.
A question?
Why is my mind blanking? I had all this planned and then my mind blanks on me.
That is why you write it down. Also,
so why is my mind blanking?
Before the show continues, I will say if you
trying to look at my notes.
If you have not
seen
if
I can think.
Or you know nothing about Phantom of the Opera.
So the opera that they were rehearsing at the beginning, is that an actual opera or did they make that up for
the opera that they're actually putting on? It's inspired by an actual opera, I should say. Because they changed a few things in it, but it is based off a real opera.
Mm-hmm. But the version in the show is fictional.
Yeah. But it's inspired by a real one. But I will say before
Michelle's note about the transition. So in the Broadway show, it's very simple. A rafter. Well, in the 25th anniversary special, there was a rafter lowered on stage, which was then lifted in the air as we go back in time to when the Opera House was in its prime. But in your usual, like Broadway in New York show of Phantom, the chandelier is actually resting on the stage because it's designed to fall and crash on the stage.
Correct.
So when the auctioneer says, "Gentlemen," for them to turn on the lights for the chandelier, that's when it slowly starts to rise back into position as we transition back to the golden age of the Opera House. But as in the film, you have more of a budget. So as the chandelier rises, the lights on the stage burst back into flame. The seats are brought back to their original design. The statues are repaired, and the chandelier takes its place back up at the top of the ceiling in all its glory.
Yeah, I will say that. I loved that film.
Yeah, you messaged me about it the day you saw it, and you were freaking out.
Yes, it was beautifully made. But I'm going to say this real quick before we continue. If you guys have not, if anyone has not seen Phantom of the Opera or have no idea what Phantom of the Opera is, which I have no idea why you wouldn't, because it's probably one of the best, one of the biggest well-known Broadway shows in history. Little quick little summary about what Phantom of the Opera is about. A woman actually here, I'm gonna let one of y'all explain it because y'all probably know it better than I. Okay, very quick, Mike. Very, very quick. Go.
Okay, so It's about a young woman who's studying to be a ballerina in the Paris Opera House, the Opera Populaire. When the main singer leaves the show unexpectedly, she takes up that singing position because she is being trained by a mysterious figure who she doesn't even know. And then he takes her, the Phantom takes her, but at the same time as Christine's developing feelings for the Phantom, she's also developing feelings for Raoul the Vicomte du Chagny, who was an old flame of hers. So then, as the show continues on, Christine is being torn between her old love and her love and appreciation for the Phantom who inspired her voice. And the more that Christine goes more in the direction of Raoul, the more unstable the Phantom becomes and the more drastic his actions become.
Okay. So, and if go ahead and check out the production for the film. We are going to be talking about the film, and well, I'll be talking more about the theatrical production because that's what I know. But we will be. I can consider this like a spoiler warning. Okay, so I'm gonna give y'all like 3 seconds to get off before we spoil it. Okay, continue.
Okay, so now are we going to go into Hannibal, or are we going to go straight towards Angel of Music?
I say we go into when he first is like hypnotizing her into like following him down this corridor.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's Little Lottie / the Mirror, Angel of Music.
Yeah, so the fun little fact about the boat, the original boat made, oh god, I don't even know how to say this number, 24,968 journeys to the Phantom's lair before they had to replace the boat to get a new one, because that's how many times it was used. So just think of how like that boat got its exercise. Let's just say that.
No kidding.
But yeah.
Although that boat was a lot easier to maneuver than the one they used in the film.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So for anyone wondering what that means, so
watch the film.
Yes, watch the film if you haven't already. And to avoid spoilers, you might want to leave now. But in the scene when the Phantom is taking Christine down to his lair underneath the opera house,
the key place,
they get into a boat and they start sailing towards his lair. And when they were making the film, the boat was on a track system similar to like a Jungle Cruise at Magic Kingdom is the best thing I can akin it to. But the boat would constantly
a small boat, kind of like on a small boat. How it has the bumpers to lead the boat.
Yeah, but the boat would keep stalling or veering off track, so they would have to reset the boat and shoot the shot all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Which gave them a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm. Because back then, I don't think was it filmed on digital or was it filmed on reel?
I think it was the movie came out in 2004, which means they probably would have been shooting it in late 2003. So I'm guessing they were probably shooting it on reel.
Ooh, let's see. Yeah, no, that's for you. For those who do not know, I also know a little bit about film editing and stuff like that. But reels are such a pain in the ass to go back and refilm on because once you use it, it's a big pain. So that's why with stuff like the boat or even stuff from like the Wizard of Oz, like when they have to reshoot something, it can get on the director's nerves because it takes so long to reset the reels and all that. So knowing how these reels work, it just gives me a bigger appreciation to how well this came together. I'm gonna look that up real quick to make sure it actually was.
Okay, so Michelle, what were some differences you noticed between the stage show and the film when Raoul comes into Christine's dressing room and they reconnect, and then the Phantom takes her through the mirror?
Hold on. It was shot on Kodak 35mm film.
Okay. For the last few minutes, I have not heard a single word you guys have said. It sounds so choppy. That's why I've been so quiet. Is what you guys' conversation is. I'm like hearing bits and pieces. I'm like, oh, I would want to talk about that. I would want to talk about that. And I'm like, okay, I'm being quiet. I can't hear. It sounds so choppy.
If you hear something you want to talk about, raise your hand so we know, so we stop.
So, Michelle, what are some things you noticed between the stage show and the film for when Raul comes into Christine's dressing room and then when the Phantom takes her through the mirror?
I'll be right back.
Okay, so something I noticed is that Raul gives her the rose. In the movie, it's the Phantom who gives her the rose through Madame Giry. And I was just like, that shocked me when I saw that. I was like, it kind of ruined it for me a little bit. I was like, oh, so it's supposed to be, so the rose is supposed to be the symbol of Raul, and the face mask is also, I was just like, I did not know that. So that's something that shocked me. So
and also in the film, when Raul comes into the dressing room, he's speaking most of his lines, but in the musical, he's singing Little Lottie to Christine.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, she doesn't recognize him at first. In the movie, she recognizes him instantly, and they didn't put that in there when they were in the rehearsal and everything. She was like telling Meg, oh, you could say we were like childhood sweethearts and everything. So that wasn't in the play.
Yeah, because in the Hannibal sequence, they normally go, the Hannibal sequence in the show is longer, and we don't meet Raul until Think of Me. But in the film, they only did a small section of Hannibal and spent more time introducing Raul and the new owners in the film.
Where did Liz go?
Liz, is that something you noticed?
What, the length of, yeah, like how you actually
how much shorter Hannibal was and how they spent more time introducing the owners and Raul and Christine.
Yeah, you pointed it out to me. I bought this so we can write down the question for Michelle. So
Smart.
let me test it and see. Let me know if you can read this or if it's backwards.
Can you read it?
Michelle?
Can you read what she wrote?
Are you talking to me or Liz?
You.
Me. Because I'm afraid to touch that chat button. I'm afraid to touch that chat button because I'm already have difficulty as it is. So I'm afraid to touch that chat button. So what was it?
Can you read what Liz is writing on her whiteboard?
I don't see her writing at all. She's like this. Okay. Hold it up again. Yes, I can read that.
Okay.
Okay.
I might need to go get another marker though. Okay. So wait, where are we at? As I eat my fruit roll up.
So we were talking about the Little Lottie and the mirror sequence.
Mm-hmm.
We already covered how in the film Raul speaks his lines versus the musical he sings them. And Michelle brought up the point that in the show Raoul gives Christine the rose because the rose is supposed to be his symbol, and the mask is supposed to be the Phantom's.
Mm-hmm.
But in the film, the Phantom gives Christine the rose through Madame Giry because you see the black ribbon tied onto the stem of the rose.
I like it better that the Phantom gives it to her, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't supposed to be a rose. They changed it to a rose.
What was it supposed to be?
They decided they were debating between a hydrangea, a lily, or like a daisy. I'm like, no, but let's not try to be like special. Let's just make it usual and give her a rose.
All right, but now, Liz, you being the theater one, you probably know the technical mishap with the Phantom's mask during the mirror sequence.
I know of one. I'm not sure, like, cause there have been several, but which I know there was
the 25th anniversary special. What's the technical mishap with the mask?
I don't think that's not the one I know. I know that one of the Broadway shows, the mask wouldn't stay on during one of the Broadway shows,
Okay, Michelle, do you know the technical issue with the mask in the 25th anniversary special?
No.
Okay, so in the 25th anniversary special, when you see Christine walk towards the mirror, which is actually a digital screen behind her.
Yes.
See the Phantom slow, but if you look closely, the mask is on the left side of his face because it's a recording of Ramin Karimloo that's being played again on the screen.
Oh, so they didn't flip it.
Yeah, so you see the mask on the left side of his face, but when the sliding door opens to show him actually standing there, if you look closely, you can see the mask is on the right side of his face, which is where the mask is supposed to sit.
So if you pause it at the right time, you can see the mask on both sides.
I can't believe I didn't notice that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
okay. So when Christine faces the mirror,
yeah, when he's singing, "Look at your face in the mirror, I am there inside."
So is it also a recording of her looking into the mirror until it opens?
No, that's actually.
I think it is, but Sierra Bogus, who played Christine in the 25th anniversary special, rehearsed the timing with the digital version of her on the screen and herself, so that way her movements would sync up.
Because that's something I was always curious about, because the Phantom looked like it was recorded, but I wasn't sure about Christine.
Let Liz finish chewing.
No, copyright!
I think acapella isn't gonna.
Oh no, I don't care. Like I don't want to take any chances. Sorry, Michelle, but I don't want to take any chances on copyrights. It's just I'm very picky about that. I'm very cautious about that. But yeah, no, the recording of the actual. I feel like I'm just gonna abuse this mute option so badly.
I'm not hearing any of that.
I'm going to try not to.
I'm not hearing her.
Oh well. But
so whatever she just said about my singing, I didn't hear it.
I didn't say anything about your singing.
She just wants to avoid copyright.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't. Okay. I thought it was actual music, not like people without the music and everything. I didn't realize that involved copyright.
Hang on. In fact, I have to write this.
Technically, Mike started it.
This is for both y'all.
Guilty as charged.
See, this is why I can't wait to do like shows, like, 'cause I know I know some good amount of mistakes that happen with the other shows, but for Phantom, since the
no singing, just in case.
Just because the show has been going on for so long, they've had time to master it, and like by now, the only mistakes that should happen are like if like a technical piece like fails or something. Like the actors shouldn't be messing up at all because this show has been on for over 30 years, which is kind of mind blowing. Because 30, like I'm 20, so I wasn't even born yet. My dad, okay. My dad actually saw the original production of Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. Not only that,
with Michael Crawford and Sarah Brightman, right?
Correct. He actually saw it. I'm mad he didn't keep his playbill, but whatever. But my teacher, who has retired this past semester, and she was amazing. Her name was Anna. She actually has like original like schematics of the theater where Phantom of the Opera is performed. Like she has like the construction, like the set construction pieces, the lighting, the light grid, everything, like all that technical stuff. She has original prints of the production, and and she brought those in, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is, and it kind of gave me a good idea of how much, like how many lights are used. Like, I have it right here. Like the where is it? I have it in here somewhere.
I feel so bad.
Oh,
because I heard none of that.
So in the 30-year run so far, they've used 2,173,452 light cues have been called. So that, and yeah. So that kind of gives you guys a good idea of how many lighting cues. There's like 22 scene changes. Oh, here we go. 120 automated light cues. So you have the manual light cues, and then you have the auto ones, which sadly we don't have in my school, but whatever. But because of that, I don't even want to imagine what their electrical bill is.
A lot.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, back to the show.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're on the title track of the show.
Yeah, I didn't hear any of that. I feel so bad. But I know this is probably going to get a lot of backlash. But Michael, what's his name? The original Phantom?
Michael Crawford. Crawford. Uh-oh. What's going on?
Did she just...
I'm not hearing if you're answering me, but anyways. Honestly, I would have never picked him to play the Phantom because of his voice. I've seen some footage of his performance, but there's parts of his performance where I like it, and then there's parts where I'm just like, oh no, that's not my Phantom. No. Mm-mm. Like, I possibly would have picked him maybe for Raoul, but for the Phantom, If it had been my choice, he would have never been picked.
Wait. Oh, wait a minute.
Especially if you saw if you saw him in Hello Dolly and how he sings in there, it's like I would not expect that to be the Phantom. Okay, back to the show now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And now we are on the title track of the musical, which I think it was Liz or Michelle that felt it happens way too early into the show. It was Liz. It was Liz. So now we are into the Phantom of the Opera, which is the duet between the Phantom and Christine as he takes her to his lair.
Here's my thing. It's probably the most well-known song in all of Broadway, in all of theater. I just feel like I love how they used it. I love how it's being used. I just feel like they played it way too soon. They like I would have been okay if like it was halfway through the movie or even near the end. But just me personally, flipping my like even though I can't really say it's my favorite song, but it's probably one of my favorite songs of all musical theater. I just feel like it's I don't know. I just have a problem with it being so early because after that, like that's when I sat down because I haven't watched the movie in so long. Like the last time I remember watching the movie was in Hilton Head with my mom, and I was like 8 years old. And the only thing I remember, we watched the whole thing, but then near the end, the last thing I remember is the sword fight, the fighting in the snow, which we'll get to later. And that's the only memory I have of it. That's how long ago I've seen it. And then I watched the 25th anniversary with somebody, I don't remember who, but I remember that song was iconic in my head because I just loved how like the opening of it is just so like it grabs your attention really quickly because of the opening number.
Yeah, with the organ.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is that it's played so early in the movie is that like I was excited. That's the song I look forward to most, and that and oh god, I can't remember.
All I ask of you.
Yes, I think that's it. I think that might be it.
The duet between Raul and Christine.
Yes, that. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just don't like that it's played so early in the film and in the production. So that's my little spiel. And also, I hate that they cut it short in the movie, unlike the actual theater production.
Yeah, and that's the one note that I had on that song was that there was one verse that was missing.
Exactly.
In all your fantasies, you always knew that man and mystery were both in you, and in this labyrinth where night is blind. But then they do sing that the Phantom of the Opera bit in there. Irvin, what's up, buddy?
Hey,
that's my buddy Irvin. I saw him at City Walk yesterday. I was looking for him at Disney Springs, but I don't.
I'm gonna have that song in my head.
And also, you have to look at the simplicity of the scene from the stage show to the film. So when the Phantom first brings Christine through the mirror on the stage, they're on stage. But then a half second later in the 25th anniversary special, so you see the Phantom take Christine through the mirror, and the next thing you know, they're in a rafter that's lowering from the ceiling of the stage, and it's like, how do you get up there so quick?
Yeah, you made a good point about that.
So when the door when the mirror opens, is he already on that sound stage when it goes up to the rafters and they like just lift them up into the air when they're going when the mirror closes again? Are they already on the rafters and they're going up, and then that's when we see them again going down and the rafters going down?
I don't think so. Liz and I came up with a theory that
Mike thought that, and I kind of agree with him with this, is that when we see them on the rafters, we think those are because he pointed out when they're doing the choreography as they're singing, we never see their faces. I mean, the Phantom, it wouldn't really matter because of the mask, but we never see Christina's face like head on, and he thinks that's because it's like a stunt double, not really a stunt double, but like a doppelganger, as the actual actor and actress are actually getting ready to get into the boat and do that whole number, because it's to draw the audience attention upwards, so that way they're not paying attention. Misdirection, that's what it's called.
So I think Christine goes through the mirror, and then Ramin Karimloo and Sierra Bogus so Irvin says, so how the 25th worked with the rafters, it's 2 takes. One take was when Ramin and Sierra are on the rafters, but when it is the full show, it is body doubles. Okay.
Okay, so
maybe what they did was they filmed the close-ups. The close-ups are Ramin and Sierra, but the far away shots where you don't really see who it is, those are the body doubles.
Yes.
And I can see how they could do that.
See, okay, because I keep getting like the 25th anniversary, the version that we have access to has been cut and edited, obviously, because of all the. But like for the people who are actually in the show, I feel like what we think is confirmed, because when you're actually in the show, they can't cut away and do that. Like for the actual DVD version of it, I think what Irvin was saying is accurate to what they actually did. But when you're actually there in the audience, it's completely different. It depends on if you're watching it.
If you were watching it live in New York,
mm-hmm.
the actual Phantom and Christine are backstage getting ready to come out on the boat into his lair, and then the one in the rafters, they're doubles.
Yeah.
Or understudies.
They cut it together to make it look like it's the same. But there was a fact that I knew. Crap. No.
Was it about the candelabras?
No. Me and Michael, we started watching the 25th anniversary together, but we couldn't because it wouldn't let us watch it at the same time. But I actually looked up for the price of the tickets for the 25th anniversary because we have to assume that they'd be crazy expensive, like in the 10,000s or like not really 10,000, maybe like more like thousands. But no, they actually were pretty cheap at the time. They were like 90 between the cheapest you could get was like 95, which is probably all the way in the back because I looked up a blueprint of the theater where the 25th anniversary was. And it has a lot of seats. Like, I can see why the ones in the far back would be like 95, but then it goes all the way up to like $500 after more digging. I think the most expensive seat you could get that was obviously like dead center. I guarantee you a majority of the people in that theater watching that were like celebrities and people who can actually afford it, or if they won like a contest or something.
Mm-hmm. Or probably like families of the current cast.
Which I don't think is fair, but you know what? I'm not going to say anything because
So, Mike, you were talking about earlier, something about the differences in the boat between the movie. What were you wanting to talk about?
All right. So obviously, with the boat in the 25th anniversary show, I believe, and I think Liz agrees with me on this, it's being remote controlled by someone backstage.
Yeah.
Like a remote control car. Whereas, and we mentioned this a little bit earlier, in the movie, it was on a track similar to like Jungle Cruise or Small World. It's being guided on a track. But sometimes the boat would stall or get stuck. Mm-hmm. So then they would have to pull the boat back with Gerard Butler and Emmy Rossum, who played the Phantom and Christine in the film, back into place, reset, and then start the music again, and then the boat would start moving forward again. I think it took them like a few days to a week to shoot that sequence in the boat because of the issues they were having.
Hang on, I'm looking it up real quick.
Mm-hmm. But I think that the layer was an entirely different set because the set of the opera house in the film is a massive set. So you have the seating for the audience, you have the stage, and then you have the actual backstage area of the opera house where they make molds, wardrobe, everything was back there. The dormitories for the ballerinas, the rafters. I think it was all one giant set.
Yeah, I looked that up. That was, yes, it was.
And that was a restriction. That's obviously a restriction for the musical or 25th anniversary special because the only area you have to access is the stage.
Oh, so I just read a fun fact that I freaking love because it's the way the why so silent scene is a reference to Edgar Allan Poe's The Mask of the Red Death, which is a show that I did at school, and I played Red Death, even though I had like no lines. But I think that's really I love Edgar Allan Poe, but that's just.
We will get to that when we get to Masquerade.
Yeah, so I'm trying to look up the how long it took to film that part. That's okay. Let's move on to why I look, because I'm like sitting in awkward silence. So let's jump ahead to. I'm trying to think where we're. I'm losing my train of thought too. So I'm gonna show you're not the only one.
I believe it would be Music of the Night.
Yes.
Now, I think
I'm not the only one. What?
I think Music of the Night has probably.
I heard you say, Michelle, you're not the only one.
Yeah. I'm losing my train of thought too.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Music of the Night. Because
I'm finding when I can hear you, all of a sudden I can't hear Mike, and then when I can't hear Mike, I can hear you. Like I can hear and see you right now, and then Mike's is acting all up.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, I don't think she's hearing me.
You want me to pull out the whiteboard?
No, why not? Yeah, so I think Music of the Night is one of the sequences.
Because whatever you're talking about, I'm not hearing it right now.
Hang on.
Hold on.
Sorry about this, guys.
Oh, no, wait, that's the wrong. If I can, there we go.
Okay, so you guys are talking about Music of the Night. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so
he's I know what you guys are talking about, but he's all glitchy.
Okay,
like,
Liz,
he's like
maybe
going back and forth. Like 1 minute I can hear you perfectly, can see you perfectly, and next minute it's all of a sudden it's like you being all glitchy and everything. That's the way it is right now with Mike.
Okay, so then Liz, why don't you kind of repeat what I'm saying to her so that way she can understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So,
yeah, well, this goes.
Music of the Night is probably one of the few sequences between the stage show and the film that remained untouched in terms of changes. In terms of music.
The sequence of the Music of the Night sequence is probably one of the few songs that was untouched and unchanged between the film and the production.
Oh God! Now I hope she can hear you still. Oh Lord!
This is awesome. I wanted a show to participate and watch like this. Well, you know what, Irvin? We do this. We're gonna start doing this every week, like once a week. I think we should try to keep it on like Wednesdays or Thursday nights.
Yeah, my buddy Irvin is a big musical guy. If we can get him in here on maybe one or two.
Oh yeah, sure.
Of these, I think it would be fun. He says he wants to do the Les Miserables episode.
Okay, so we'll talk about that when it gets closer to the end of this. On what two shows are going to be coming up. Michelle, can you hear us? Okay, let's just keep going as much as we can. Good.
Okay, now I see Mike again.
Okay, it's like.
Okay, for once I hear both of you.
Okay, so then I better make this quick.
Mm-hmm.
So the only difference really between the original production of Phantom with Michael Crawford and the 25th special with Romain Kamloo is the absence of the Christine mannequin.
Mm-hmm.
So in the original production with Michael Crawford, there was a mannequin of Christine in a wedding gown that would burst through a mirror and Christine would faint. The Phantom would carry Christine to, I think it's his boat in the show, and then he would sing the final 2 lines of Music of the Night.
But basically, like
anniversary special, they did not have that. The Phantom walked up behind Christine, faced her towards him, and she went unconscious, and he put her in the boat. But in the film, they brought back the Christine mannequin in the wedding dress. And when Emmy Rossum, who played Christine, when she saw it, she fainted, but the Phantom took her to his own bed, laid her down to sleep, and then either in the show or the movie, he went to his organ to start writing the music for Don Juan.
But I think in the play, when he lays her back into the boat, I think that's supposed to like symbolize his bed and everything. Because especially, we're not going to mention too much about the sequel. But,
yeah, we're not mentioning Love Never Dies.
But if you watch the sequel, you know basically that's when they, have sex or make love, whatever.
If and when we ever get into the sequel, we will discuss it more at length.
We are still debating whether or not we're going to do the sequel.
Okay. I just wanted to mention that little tiny thing about it.
Also, can I just say another little fun fact that I found out, which I wish had happened just because I love this woman so much and I have a huge crush on her. Keira Knightley had auditioned for Christine because she really wanted to play her. It was one of her dream roles, and so she auditioned and she made the final cut before it was like, you know what, we're going to go with What's Her Face. And can I just say, I think Keira Knightley would have done a great job as Christine, because I've heard that woman sing, and she can sing. My gosh. Anyway, so sorry, that was just a little fun fact that I just read. And also The Mask. The movie went through where'd it go? The movie went through 18 masks because the mask kept getting fingerprints on it, and they couldn't wash it off.
Because it was a different design, and I think it was a different material than the stage.
Yep. And both
the stage versions probably would have showed up weird or different on film reel versus the 25th anniversary special, which I think was shot digital.
Yep. And both Patrick and Jared hated filming the water scene. Sorry.
So in the production and in the movie, did they have the masks specially made for the actors, or do they just have it separate? Okay.
I got this. I got this one. So I know for the theatrical production, is that, like I said, they made over 300 masks specially made because they have to fit the actor's face. Obviously, it's just like with the dresses in Wicked. Each one has to be specially made for that actor, because I might, if I was playing the Phantom and then Mike was playing the Phantom after me, our faces are obviously different shapes, so that it wouldn't fit Mike's face after fitting mine. And so I know for when they did the 25th anniversary, they didn't want to. They tried not to get a new mask made because it was only gonna be like a one-time show thing, and so they tried to get a mask that had already been used, because all of the masks go into the archives. They all get saved and put into storage. They don't get destroyed. They don't get any of this. They don't get reused. Well, I can't really say that because I don't really know. But I know if they're not being used, they go to archive. They go into storage. And so they tried to find a mask that was as close to the guy's face as possible. And so he tried on like 4 or 5 masks, and the one he ends up wearing is actually the closest one that fit over the prosthetic makeup he was wearing.
But I think the forehead section of the mask might have been too big, because if you look closely, it's kind of sitting off his forehead.
Yeah, it is.
It doesn't sit flush to his forehead.
I feel like it would have been better if they just made him a mask. It actually doesn't take that much. It's not that expensive to make masks. Actually, I think each mask takes like I think it's like $35 to make one mask, which actually isn't that bad for the material that's made out of.
So in the play, you can see a wire that's like going around their head to keep the mask on. I'm trying to figure out how they kept the mask on in the movie. I didn't understand how they kept the mask on.
That I know. Okay, that I know. They
Uh-oh, we lost her.
Uh-oh. Her phone probably just died. Oh. What happened?
We lost you for a brief second.
I'm sorry, I'm reading Irvin's little. Oh, there's your answer.
Oh yeah, because Ramin had previously played the Phantom. I think it was either in the West End or on Broadway.
I can't believe I forgot about that. Yes, that is right. That's completely right. But for the movie, God, I'm trying to remember how they did it to the movie.
Oh yeah, that's a little secret I wanted to throw in this discussion.
Go for it.
So Ramin actually had a cameo in the film. Yes, in the
I just learned that.
Yeah, so during Angel of Music, when Meg comes to Christine after she sings in Hannibal and asks who Christine's teacher is, Christine says, "My father, as he lay dying, said he would send the Angel of Music to me." And Meg is wondering, well, is this teacher of yours the angel that your father sent? But the little painting of Christine's father in the chapel of the Opera House is actually Ramin Karimloo, which I found that was neat. But I think they did that because at the time, Ramin was playing in the film on Broadway, I think.
Yeah, I just learned that like an hour before we got on here. I wanted to make sure I wrote down like what people's names and stuff. And when I saw that, I was like, what? The first one I watched our butler, who was the teacher, and which was kind of confusing me. And then after reading that, I was like, oh, this is nice.
So I'll hold this up here. So that is the picture that was in the chapel for the film. That's Ramin Karimloo, who played the Phantom in the 25th anniversary special. So that's what he looks like without the prosthetics and the wig and.
Okay. Anyway, so let's just to prevent this from being like a 2-hour live stream, let's try to make bigger jumps because I'd rather not have like a 2-hour live stream.
Okay.
So I
think we should cut to.
Obviously, when we get closer to the end, we're gonna have more detailed stuff near the end because that's when a lot of crazy shit goes down. But
So yeah, let's get closer towards the end of Act 1, which is the fictional production of Il Muto / Poor Fool, He Makes Me Laugh.
Okay.
So, in the sequence before this, the Phantom is sending notes to various people in the opera house. The owners, Raoul, Carlotta Giudicelli, who is a leading soprano that Christine replaces. And it's all the Phantom's doing. And the Phantom basically commands the owners to make Christine the lead in the new musical and put Carlotta in the silent role. But they defy his orders and they make Christine the silent role and they make Carlotta the lead. So the musical occurs and the Phantom interrupts because one of his orders was to leave box 5 open for him because he always sits in box 5. But the owners chose to sit there instead.
Oh.
So in one of the notes, he warned that if his commands were ignored, a disaster beyond imagination would occur. So when in the stage show, he appears only by voice.
Yeah.
You don't actually see him, you only hear his voice. In the film, he actually appears up in a rafter of the ceiling near the chandelier.
Catwalk.
The catwalk near the chandelier. But in the musical, Carlotta starts to lose her voice.
Mm-hmm.
And the Phantom's laughing louder and louder, and he's just like, she is singing to bring down the chandelier. But in the film, he doesn't actually say that. In the film, he switched Carlotta's vocal spray. So instead of soothing her voice, it made her voice crack.
Yeah, which is also, side note, which is like the one thing you never want to happen when you're doing either any type of musical is if your voice cracks. It's not lovely.
In the film, you see the audience and the orchestra start laughing as Carlotta's voice starts cracking more and more, and she can't sing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the last few minutes, I haven't heard you guys. So obviously in the movie, you see the Phantom reaching over and grabbing her spray thing, whatever, to help her voice. But how does it happen in the play? Because all of a sudden, like, you don't see him do anything. All of a sudden, her voice just starts to crack out of nowhere. Like, somehow he's causing it, but I didn't understand how.
He does it, like, off stage, doesn't he?
Yeah, so maybe it was she got her throat spray off stage, and she went on, and it took a little while to kick in. But
I just wish they would have kind of showed that, you know.
Enough.
I can see why they didn't want to show it in the actual show, because it's, I mean,
it would have been weird to see the actress playing Carlotta go to the wing and then come back, but not see what happened.
No, I mean, like, they could have had someone come on stage and do it right then and there.
Can I also say Catherine Zeta-Jones was offered the role of Christine, but she turned it down because she had done Chicago right before that, and she didn't want to do two singing roles, which probably was smart because Chicago is very demanding, but also Phantom is very demanding, so her voice probably would have been really jacked up by the end of it. So, little fun fact. But yeah, I think the reason why, because there are certain things they want to do off stage just because like it's not really important to show it. But the audience was able. What happens leading up to the Phantom sabotaging Carlita is that like the audience knows that about the notes and about the threats, and so they already know that something's going to happen to this main singer because they didn't accept the Phantom's rules, and so they already know that the Phantom. The reason why her voice is cracking is because of the Phantom, so they don't really need to show him doing the deed, I guess you could say, because the audience.
To the patrons of the Opera House, he is known as the Opera Ghost.
Yeah.
So by having him interrupt the show, and then all of a sudden Carlotta's voice starts cracking and breaking, that adds more to the mystery and the aura of the Opera Ghost.
Yeah, because people don't know that he's not real. But I mean, they don't know he's real.
And
they don't know he's a human man. They think he is a ghost who haunts the Opera House.
That'd be like a big twist if he actually was a ghost.
And in the play, when she says your part is silent, little toad, and then he says, "A toad, madam."
It is you.
Maybe it is you who is the toad. Now in the play, he like screams it. It feels like,
yeah.
And in the movie, he kind of says it silently.
Well.
That's just something I noticed. I'm like, okay, so maybe in the play it was meant to be to himself, but obviously if he whispered it to himself, no one would hear it.
Here's the thing with that is that I feel like everyone was supposed to hear him. It wasn't really supposed to be meant to himself, but the reason why it seems like he's screaming it in the theater is because you have to project because like off stage it's kind of hard to have a mic on off stage because you can pick up all the. Depending on what kind of mic you have, but in theater everything has to be not emphasized.
Amplified.
Thank you. Amplified. Everything in the theater has to be amplified. The sound, if they don't have mics, they have to project. So that's why it seems like he's yelling it in the show than in the movie. Does that make sense?
And also with the stage show, it's probably just a simple matter of turning up his microphone a couple levels.
Yeah.
So it makes it sound like it's projecting more. And they probably add more of an echo effect into it.
Actually, no, they didn't have to because there were 24.
Because he's supposed to be up where up towards where the chandelier is hanging.
They actually didn't need to because there were 24 surround speakers placed throughout the theater. So all around the theater, the main theaters, there were 24 speakers. So
and once again, I'm curious. So the play that the opera that they were performing at that moment and everything, is that an actual opera or was that something also created? Okay.
No, it's not. It was inspired by a real one, but the play itself that they're doing is fiction. Because then if they had done a real show, they had to give credit to that show and like copyrights and all that, and they were like, no, we're not going to do that. That's too much.
That would be a huge hassle.
Yeah, and
Andrew Lloyd Webber technically made his own plays if he wanted to. He could have created his own plays within plays, then he wouldn't have to do the copyright thing because he owns both.
That's a good point.
Like that would be interesting to see, like a Don Juan show where they're doing the point of no return.
Yeah. So now let's get into All I Ask of You and the corresponding reprise.
Okay.
So I think lyrically, there were like no changes made between the film and the 25th anniversary special. That song was pretty much untouched.
Which I liked. I really liked that.
The only change I found was in the reprise. So in the film, we see the Phantom on the roof pick up the rose that he had somehow slipped Christine. And he sings the reprise. And he goes to the edge of the roof and sings the final line and the final note, and then the camera just pans down into darkness and then goes back into another flashback sequence. But in the stage show, in the 25th anniversary special, he sings the final note, he disappears, and then it goes back down inside the opera house where the fake play of Il Muto has just finished and Christine is taking her bow, and that's when the Phantom destroys the quote-unquote first chandelier. Now, in the 25th anniversary special, the Royal Albert Hall was not meant to hold the track because the chandelier normally falls down above the audience and lands on stage. But the Royal Albert Hall was not meant for that. So they just had the chandelier stay stationary and they just lit off sparks and explosions and made it seem like it was blowing up.
Which doesn't have the same power in it.
It doesn't have the same fear factor.
Yeah.
Because like I saw the actual performance on YouTube.
Wait, Mike, let's let Michelle say something. Michelle?
So why do you think that in the movie they changed it that the chandelier crashed at the end instead of in the middle? To be honest, I like that it crashed at the end because that gave a Phantom a good way to escape. I liked it better in the movie than in the Broadway play. But why do you think they changed it?
Why they crashed it then in the show?
Yeah, because in the film it only crashes once. In the show, it crashes twice.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I will answer this one.
Okay.
So when they were shooting the movie, the set of the opera house didn't go higher than the first balcony. And the chandelier was so big and so expensive that they could only crash it once. And they decided to do it for the final shot when the opera house actually burns down.
Correct.
And so they had it strung up, ready to swing and crash. And obviously, when you see the movie, there's a full audience there. But when they were actually shooting it, there weren't. There were only like a few stunt people in each aisle. So then they call the action, they let it drop, hit the stage, the pyro effect is kicked on, and everything starts to burn and catch fire.
Yeah.
And so they only had the time and the budget to crash the chandelier once. That's why they waited until the end of the film to crash it.
And also,
because I didn't even realize in the Broadway play that they crashed it twice. I thought they only crashed it once.
No. The actual sound, because like in the movie, the sound you actually hear, the crashing of the chandelier in the film, the sound you hear is actually is an actual recording from the chandelier crashing from the stage show. So they recorded when it crashed on the stage in the theatrical production. They recorded that sound, and that's what that sound was used as an overlay in the movie.
Okay. Yeah, because I noticed when I watched the behind the scenes of the film like many years ago that when the chandelier actually hit the stage and collapsed, it didn't sound nearly as loud.
Yeah, and that's why
they recorded one of the chandelier crashes from the show and then overlaid it.
No, they didn't. They didn't even overlay it. They muted when you see the chandelier crash in the film. They muted that sound and put the overlay of the recording they had on top of it. So it's not a mix of both sounds. It's just the one from the stage because that audio came out really well.
Okay.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. But now, so in the stage show, after the Phantom destroys the chandelier for the first time, that's the end of Act 1.
Yeah.
And it goes into
and then the audience comes back, and that's when we get into Act 2/6 months later.
Yep. Now, which I kind of like the time jump, but yet I kind of don't like the time jump because I like the I would have wanted to see a little bit of the repercussions of what had happened that night, like how everybody handled it the next day or something like that. I would have enjoyed seeing that at least. But overall, the whole jump forward was actually probably a better idea because it would have been chaotic.
So how do you know it was 6 months later?
Because
on the actual soundtrack for the 25th anniversary special, the title is called Entr'acte /Act 2/6 months later.
Oh, okay.
Because I think they're holding a masquerade ball at the time for, at least in the film, it was for New Year's. So the chandelier crash and the El Muto incident chronologically probably would have taken place in June.
Yeah.
Or July if you follow that timeline. But we're not getting into that.
Yeah.
But now, what I noticed between the actual show and the film is that much of the score for Entr'acte Act 2 6 months later is missing. Oh gosh. She's gone full masquerade now. Michelle's gone full bird.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so in the film, I think they only have
no copyright.
I think they only have the first 3 or 4 measures before they start singing Masquerade in the film. Yeah. Whereas in the actual show, they go through this whole like instrumental recap of all the songs that happened in Act 1.
Which I kind of like.
And also the moment when the owners go down the stairs and cross paths and then back into one another in the show, that's all missing from the film. In the film, they just walk up and greet each other and then start singing Masquerade.
And then in the Broadway show,
when you see the exterior of the opera house and you see the fireworks and everything going off, that was honestly cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, when they were doing the Masquerade part, now in the Broadway show, half of that is actually animatronics or dummies.
So that way, when they're doing
they have people interacting with the dummies and everything, so it made it look real, and it does look real.
Yeah. So when they're doing their I guess robotic movements,
you mean
it looks more robotic with the mannequins being stationary.
You mean in the 25th anniversary?
No. In the 25th anniversary special, they actually had a full ensemble cast for that. Every single person on stage was a human.
Hold on.
But
I watched the behind the scenes of it. Half of them are animatronics.
In the 25th anniversary?
Well, animatronics or mannequins?
Mannequins.
Yeah,
because Phantom of the Opera had an ensemble on Broadway, like their actual Broadway show in New York had.
I believe so.
So they, I was like, what Broadway show are you talking about?
Yeah. So now, one thing to remember is that in the Broadway show, the ensemble is much smaller. The ensemble for the 25th anniversary special was, I think, 2 or 3 times the size of the regular Broadway show
Yeah, there
cast.
are 130 cast, crew, and orchestra members directly involved with or in each performance. So that kind of shows you how small the original performance was. The original production was very small.
Oh, yeah. With Michael Crawford and Sarah Brightman, yeah, there were probably only like 15, 20 orchestra, probably like 30 to 50 members maybe of the ensemble.
Back then, theater wasn't, I mean, you say it wasn't, but it wasn't as popular as it is now.
It was kind of,
it was still
like a revival of sorts.
Yeah. Anywho, so
the one thing I noticed with Masquerade, obviously the big one are the costume differences.
Yes.
In the 25th anniversary special, each costume is unique and diverse to each member of the main cast and the ensemble.
You can tell too. Though you can
tell, and it also helps you tell. It also helps you tell who is who.
Yeah.
Now, I think the only costume that didn't change from the film to the 25th anniversary special, or vice versa, is Raoul's. It's the same formal military outfit with the cape draping over one of his arms.
Yeah, with having 230 costumes, it's like you're bound to keep that. It's best to keep them not looking. So I can't okay, so I found out that they had 14 dressers for Phantom of the Opera. So, like I explained last week, I'm not going to go into this huge spiel because if you want to know, you can go watch last week's episode. Dressers are basically people who take care of the costumes. Long story short, so each actor or actress will have each dresser will be assigned 1 or 2 actors or actresses. So, in having 230 costumes and only 14 dressers, if you kind of divide that and do that math, that's actually a lot of costumes to keep up with one person.
Yeah, let's see, 230.
I'm doing it now. Don't, Mike, don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself. I'm doing it now. So, roughly each, wait, what? That can't be right. Hold up now. How is that? That's not how. Wait, what? Okay, hold on. I am probably doing this wrong. The 230 divided by 15.
I'm
16.
getting.
How am I getting that?
I'm getting 16.42857.
How does that even work? What? Whatever.
I mean, so maybe what it is each of the main cast
had their own dresser. They had but it's
and then they had maybe 8 to 10 of the other dressers focusing on the ensemble.
Yeah, because I've won
everything done in time.
Because I've worn those kind of dresses, and let me tell you, I've tried one of those on. It takes a good 30 minutes to get into that dress, and it takes even longer to get out because of the corset and everything, and the whole it is a pain in the ass. So it takes a lot of people to get a woman into that kind of dress. And let me tell you, I could not breathe. So I give all the props to the ensemble and the main cast for the women for being able to sing with those corsets on, because I could not breathe. I don't know how they did it. I tried.
Is there different kinds of corsets and everything? Because I've never tried on a corset before, but I've always been curious too.
No, so there are different styles, but originally how it is it's like this. What it's like? It's like this fabric that goes right here in the shoelace kind of thing in the back. Back then, it's and they would pull it tight, shoelaces basically, and how they go accents.
But now a corset in Titanic when Rose's mother is tightening her corset.
Exactly.
And when Elizabeth is having her dress put on for Commodore Norrington's promotion ceremony.
Exactly.
And she's having the corset put on and she's finding it harder and harder to breathe.
Because your figure was all women all that. But now they have ones that are adjustable and whatnot because they are essentially they're killing machines because they cut off women's breathing. So the fact that they were able to sing those kind of songs with that on, I'm very impressed by that. So
I think it primarily restricts your diaphragm, which is what helps push your lungs up to breathe air in.
Yeah, because your diaphragm down here.
Mm-hmm.
because like my ribcage is right here, so my diaphragm's probably like right here. I don't know, whatever. This isn't a biology class anyway.
Yeah.
So back to the show.
So obviously with Masquerade, the costumes in the show are fairly unique to each member of the cast and ensemble who is wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
Now in the film, it was very simple. They used a simple like black, white, silver, and gold color palette for each costume.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
And some of them were more unique than others, like Carlotta's dress and Piangi's outfit and the owners. But aside from that, the ensemble, the backup dancers, their costumes were just very simple ties and jackets, shirts, pants.
Exactly.
It was very boring. And I hate to critique the movie like that, but the background dancers' outfits during Masquerade were kind of blah.
And also, like, with the budget they had, they could have easily made those costumes more unique.
Mm-hmm. Like, or if anything, they probably could have reproduced the ones from the show.
So why did so in the full mask and everything, you know, connected to his mouth, you know, to look like a skull face and everything. So how come they only did like a half mask in the movie?
Oh yeah, so Liz, she's talking about the Phantom's outfit.
Oh, okay.
So obviously his outfit is different. His outfit in the stage show, it's big, it's bulky, it's flashy.
Yeah.
He's got the big feathered hat. But in the film, it's more of a like elegant.
I didn't hear what Mike said.
It's more of an elegant red suit with the cape, and like she said, the half mask, kind of like the one on her shirt, but it has like ridges in it. It's meant to look like a skull.
Okay. So,
and then the black eyeliner.
So what was the question?
But, I think she was just making the contrast between the Phantom's stage outfit during Why So Silent and the film version.
Okay.
Which I gotta say, I love the stage version in its bulkiness and its elegance, but like Gerard's slick cut suit with the cape and the sword, which the sword is actually really cool because the hilt that protects your hand on the handle is actually in the design of a skull. It was really neat.
Yeah, I noticed that too when I was skimming, I guess I could call it, because like I said, I didn't watch the full thing. I just jumped to like the main pieces and watched what I felt was important. So that's why I'm not contributing a lot to this episode, because I don't really.
Just a quick sidebar. I wonder if Gerard still has that sword.
I feel like he would. I feel like everybody. I guarantee Raoul probably took one of his masks with him when he left the show. The first when Michael Crawford was the Phantom. I guarantee you he took one of the masks. Like, it's like if you're gonna be the Phantom and you can take a prop, you got to take your mask. You can't take anything else. The mask has got to be the thing you take. Like, it's
and not the prop mask that Meg picks up at the end of the stage show. The actual mask you wore.
Yeah, because it's like yours. It's like your trophy. Like, it's like it's like Elphaba with green. Like, she wears her green. Like, the actresses wear the green with pride. It's like it's just something you have to take. Like, I guarantee if I ever work on any, I'm gonna be sneaking so many props off. I'm gonna have to try not to. But...
Focus.
Okay, sorry. But like each. I don't know. It's just like if you're gonna do that, you have to take your mask. Like, your mask is like your rite of passage in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now let's get into Why So Silent. And Liz, you actually found out that there is a comparison of Why So Silent to one of Edgar Allan Poe's poems.
So, yes, actually, it's one of his short stories. It's called The Mask of the Red Death. So, for those who do not know, Mask of the Red Death is basically about this demon, I guess you can say. It's kind of like a little bit of like Phantom of the Opera, so I can see why they tied it in with that. He goes around, he basically, like the show that we did, I basically killed the main protagonist, and it's like, it's long story short, it's basically a devil who goes around killing people. And it's finally unmasked and everyone. So I highly recommend you guys, if you like Edgar Allan Poe, definitely check out The Mask of the Red Death. Edgar, there you go, little shout out. Rest in peace, Edgar Allan Poe. But yeah, the song actually references the Mask of the Red Death, which is like one of my all-time favorite Edgar Allan Poe pieces that he had written.
Mm-hmm. But now, so obviously we mentioned the costume change, but Michelle, is there anything you noticed that was different with Why So Silent?
I feel like she can't hear you. Michelle! Hang on, I got the board.
Yeah, Michelle, right now we're doing Why So Silent. I don't think she can hear either.
Hang on. I misspelled silent, so don't judge me. Michelle.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, anyway, let's just keep going.
Okay, so, well, obviously, so Why So Silent in the stage show is an entirely, they cut a good amount of that they cut a good amount out of Why So Silent and the following song, Notes / Twisted Every Way, and they kind of mashed them together.
See, I wasn't crazy about that. I didn't like that.
Yeah, because they had to do that because of the extended scene with Raoul in the Hall of Mirrors, and then the extended flashback scene of Madame Giry telling Raoul how the Phantom ended up in the Opera House.
Yeah.
So he sings the first half of Why So Silent, but then the last bit that he sings about Carlotta learning how to act, Piangi losing weight, the owners learning where they belong, and Christine is the final letter that they all get in Notes / Twisted Every Way.
Because for the past few minutes, I haven't been able to hear y'all.
What?
Yeah. Sorry, Michelle.
And I'm like I'll hear like little like you guys talking, and I'm not wanting to interrupt you. Even I'm probably gonna have to go back like once this is over. I'm gonna have to like watch the replay to hear.
No,
answer any of my questions.
Yeah, we're coming up on 2 hours, y'all. So let's try and not make this 2 hours.
Okay. So then, obviously, we pretty much covered Notes Twisted Every Way.
Yeah.
So most of the song is missing. Although there is one thing in Notes Twisted Every Way that I do want to point out is that the portion that Raoul sings of We Have All Been Blind, and yet the answer is staring us in the face. And he goes to a plan on how they're going to trick the Phantom into coming out so that way they can try and kill him or capture him. In the stage show, it's sung in Notes Twisted Every Way. In the film, it's sung after Raoul's sword fight with the Phantom in the graveyard. After
what I do love, by the way, I just love that whole sequence.
Yeah, after Wandering Child, the kind of the pseudo duet between the Phantom and Raoul, the Phantom and Christine before Raoul and the Phantom have their sword fight in the graveyard.
Yeah,
and that's I should remind you.
Did we ever talk about the sword fight? If we did, I totally missed it.
We're just about to get into that.
Like literally the only part of the movie I remember. See, okay, so it's like since we're already on it, let's just go right into the sword fight. And the thing is that I love that the Phantom doesn't go through with killing Raoul in the film.
Well, he doesn't kill him in the show or the film, but in the stage show, Raoul shows up and kind of breaks Christine's trance. And then I think the Phantom uses all these pyro effects to kind of scare them off. So when you watch the stage show for the 25th anniversary special, the Phantom's like lashing out his hands, and these fire effects are bursting.
He's firebending, yo. Oh my gosh. I just got it. Zuko became the Phantom of the Opera.
Not going there. Yeah. I think what it's symbolized is like, I think the Phantom's supposed to be throwing these like pyro effects that are bursting on the ground, like firecrackers, basically, and he's using them to scare Christine and Raoul. Because the Phantom's slowly realizing that Christine will never love him. And his psychological break is reaching its peak.
Mm-hmm.
As he says, let there be war upon you both.
Yeah, and he actually does say that in both the show and the film.
Yeah, which
but at different points.
That's one of the Phantom's key lines. That's something you cannot take out.
Mm-hmm. I think that's when he has his main psychological break, and that's when he loses all forms of humanity and self-control.
Yeah, that's where he snaps.
Yeah, so obviously in the stage show, the little fire effects happen, and then Christine and Raoul just run off stage, and he says, "Now let it be war upon you both."
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I still wish there would have been a sword fight in the play. I still wish it.
See, I kind of feel like I see why they didn't, because there are high risks with that. Because with theater sword fighting, if it doesn't look real, then there's really no point in doing it, because that's what theater is. You're there to put the audience into a trance and make them believe what they're seeing, kind of stuff, like not really lying to them, but whatever. But that, and also I feel like the actors didn't want to really do it, because as much as you pay these actors to do this stuff, they still have to be okay with doing what they have to do. Like, you can't force them to do something. Like, you can't force somebody to kiss somebody on stage if they don't want to kiss them.
And if they don't feel comfortable wielding a sword, real or fake.
Exactly.
And also, like, in addition to all of the dance choreography and learning your places and how you move on stage,
and
your
sword fight
would be a lot.
Yeah,
it would take a lot more rehearsal time.
Yeah, and I think that was just
there was times where I was so like, so when I know this is kind of jumping backwards, but when Christine first sees the Phantom, does she automatically know that that's the Phantom of the Opera, or like does she realize, oh, it's the same person? You know, Angel of Music and the Phantom of the Opera is the same person.
Well, because she's in the trance.
Yeah, I think she recognizes it as the voice of the person who's teaching her, but she had never once seen him.
Because she's been in the trance. Like, every time she says she's seen him, she was in that trance state.
Mm-hmm. When she first sees him through the mirror, I think that was her first time actually seeing him, quote unquote, face to face. But also, because he was so tall and mysterious and handsome, it was basically a bad boy crush.
Yeah.
Because you got Raoul, who's like the golden boy, you know, to put it into modern terms, like star of the football team and the basketball team.
Yeah.
And then you get the Phantom.
Spoiled brat gets whatever he wants.
Yeah, and then there's the Phantom, who's kind of like, whether it's motorcycles or muscle cars, he's basically the bad boy infatuation.
Yeah.
For Christine. And Christine's basically torn between the bad boy and the jock, so to speak.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it.
I have to say, I go into that trance every single time I see that scene. I'm like glued to Gerard Butler.
Know, because you know why? Because I'm a lesbian. I guess that's one thing about me. I don't have to worry about being put into some stupid trance by a guy. Anywho, so let's go back to.
But yeah, so obviously with the sword fight sequence in the film, you had a full set to work with, so there was more room for them to work with and move around, and and then obviously the Phantom cuts Raoul. So obviously with the bigger budget, there is room for those physical effects of a cut and blood.
Yeah.
You can do that in a stage show.
Well, technically you can. It just costs more money.
And like the timing has to be perfect. Because with a movie, you're using the cameras and things to trick you into thinking it's real, but it's not.
Also, they would have to learn stage fighting, which is alone hard to do.
And then you have to make sure if they were to do it on stage, when the Phantom swings towards Raoul's arm, that he makes close enough contact, and then you'd have to time the effect of the sleeve ripping and the blood coming out of the skin. You'd have to time that so perfectly.
See, they probably if they do that,
it would break the realism.
That or they're like they would probably use a squib for that, which is just like a thing of fake blood. As soon as you cut it, it's just like whatever. They use it in films too. But anyway, so after the sword fight,
so we get into Don Juan.
Yeah.
Which is the Phantom's opera that he wrote.
Yeah.
And mind you, Don Juan is all part of the Phantom's plan, so to speak. But there is a little bit that was in the stage show that isn't in the film. In the stage show, there's a little like side rehearsal of everyone practicing their parts, and they're critiquing the show. But Madame Giry comes in and chastises Carlotta. Carlotta's like, well, the composer's not here. Madame Giry's like, can you be certain of that? And then the piano starts playing by itself.
Which I thought was a good I liked how they were able to do that, because that's actually a kind of hard thing to do, to get a piano to play by itself without it being like too obvious.
Mm-hmm. But man, like it was so eerie too. Like it adds more into that realism of the opera ghost.
Realism? I'm not letting that go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like really the only two differences I noticed in Don Juan is that the Phantom doesn't hide his face under a hood in the film. He comes out wearing the same mask that Piangi was when he went backstage.
Yeah.
Before the Phantom, sorry, spoiler guys, before the Phantom strangled him.
Okay, we already gave a spoiler alert warning, so we don't need to be doing that.
Okay, so do you think that the Phantom would have killed Piangi if he hadn't been looking for him?
Yes.
Or do you think he was going to kill him either way, because that was going to show, hey, look, I'm serious. If you guys don't do things my way, there's going to be trouble.
I think he can kill him either way, because what if Piangi had come out mid-performance and interrupted? Who knows what the Phantom would have done?
He would have done anything to get what he wants. Because if we've known anything by this production, that he does whatever it takes to get what he wants.
And also, when you have a major psychological break like he did,
you'll do anything.
That's at least portrayed in the show. He doesn't care. He will do anything, and he does not care about the consequences.
He's basically a sociopath.
Yeah.
He becomes a sociopath.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think if he wasn't a killer, I think Christine would have stayed in love with him.
No, I don't think so.
Well, she does sing a little line in one of the upcoming sequences, but we will get to that.
So, okay. So just to like...
But like, there was one small thing I noticed. So in the show, when the Phantom puts the ring on Christine's finger, in the show, it's his own personal ring that he takes off his finger and puts it on hers. In the film, the ring he puts on her finger is the engagement ring that Raoul gave her earlier. Because you saw in the film, he grabs it off her neck, and he says, your chains are still mine, you belong to me. And then he disappears into the Hall of Mirrors.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a very minor hiccup. That's something anyone could easily overlook.
So when they're doing the point of no return, okay, in the movie, I was like, okay, she realizes it's him. But in the Broadway play, I was always so confused. When does she realize, okay, yes, this is the Phantom, okay, I need to make him believe that I want to be with him.
So I think in the stage show, I think there was a moment where she touches a part of his body or his face.
I think it's his face.
And I think
he's got a covering over his face in the play.
Well, I think he touched his face, and he's still wearing his mask at this point. So I think she felt the mask under the hood, and she realized it wasn't Piangi, it was him. Although, remember, they made this plan to capture the Phantom. So Christine knew there was probably a 50-50 shot that he was going to come out and try and take her. So even after she felt his mask, she kept going through the performance, trying to keep him focused on her.
As bait.
They could try and capture him, but obviously that goes wrong because she takes his hood off. He starts to run, but they come back together. He puts the ring on her finger, but then she messes up and rips off his mask and wig. And that's when he kind of has a secondary minor mental breakdown. And that's when he takes her down to his lair. And the plan falls apart.
So how did he, I wonder what he envisioned happening. I wonder if he envisioned they would kiss at that moment instead of her ripping off his mask.
He probably thought oh, she's gonna kiss me, she's gonna fall in love with me, it's gonna be happily ever after. Bitch, no. She's like, nope, yeet.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying for the Phantom, that's what he was probably thinking, that they would kiss and then I wonder if they would I wonder how he envisioned the opera to finish. They finish the performance and then he runs off with her.
Probably.
Or maybe if he pictured it as they kiss and they fall in love, that when they moved in to capture him, Christine would have stood between the Phantom and the police. And then maybe they would have run off together somewhere. Because obviously he was wanted for murder.
Yeah.
At that point. Because we skipped over this segment, but during one of the fake musicals in Phantom, the Phantom kills one of the rigmasters for the backdrops. He kills Bouquet, who's one of the rigmasters of the opera house.
That's right, he does. I forgot about that.
So obviously the Phantom's already wanted for one murder. But then they find Piangi, so that's 2 murders.
So yeah. And so I think he doesn't kill anybody after that, does he?
No. So I think in the Phantom's mind, Christine would have leaped between him and the police, and they would have somehow escaped, run away somewhere, and lived happily ever after.
Well, this ain't no Disney film, so sorry, Phantom.
Yeah. But now, the difference between the film and stage show is that when Christine rips off his mask and wig in the show, he screams and drags her away.
Yeah, he does.
Off one of his pyro effects. In the movie, he just kind of stands there in shock. And then in the movie he cuts a rope, and that's what's holding the chandelier in place. And this is when the chandelier starts to crash.
Again.
And then he kicks something. And in the film, they're up on this drawbridge over this fake fire pit. And after he cuts the rope, he grabs Christine and kicks something on the platform, and the floor drops out, and they fall through the fake fire pit.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they probably go into some slide or something, because next time we see the Phantom and Christine, they're walking down to his lair.
Down we go to the prison of my mind.
Oh yeah, Down Once More / Track Down This Murderer is the song title, I think. So Down Once More is the bit that the Phantom sings, and then Track Down This Murderer is the thing that the song the ensemble is singing as they make their way down to the lair to capture him.
Yeah.
Because they know he's there. But now, the quick distance, a quick difference here between the film and the show is that when Madame Giry takes Raoul to his lair, she says, "This is as far as I dare go." He goes to the lair and he gets there with no hassle. In the film, he's making his way down this giant spiral staircase, but he steps on a trap door and he somehow falls into this water pit, and these spikes start descending towards him. But I think that was just an extended scene to make up for a change from the show to the film.
I agree.
I think it was basically filler.
I hate fillers.
And it also made no sense because he's walking down this staircase, a trapdoor falls down, all of a sudden he's in this water pit. How did the Phantom avoid setting off that same trap for all those years?
I mean, he knew where it was, so he knew how not to trigger it.
That's also a good point. But it's what if the Phantom has a misstep and he falls through that trapdoor?
He's been living in that theater for years. Like I guarantee you, like he's.
Yeah, it was like when Madame G was telling his story, both in the film and show, or I think it was in the film. She said he has known nothing else since this opera house. It was his playground and now his artistic domain.
Correct.
But in the play,
because Madame Giry is the one that snuck the Phantom into the opera house to live there.
But in the play, he comes to the opera as an adult.
Well, in the film, Madame Giry tells the story is that she was a ballerina in the opera house, and she sees the Phantom as a boy kill his master or owner, and then she takes him away and hides him in the opera house. And ever since then, all he's known is the opera house. So first he used it as a playground. He would just go around and so he probably know with how long he's lived there, he probably knows that opera house better than anyone.
Yeah, kind of like me at Johnson at school. I know that building better than anyone because I spend all my time in that building. Like I know every inch of that theater by now.
He knows every back hallway, trap door, hidden passage.
Because when you're
back in his hand.
Yeah.
So then leap forward a few years when he meets Christine and he falls in love. He starts enacting this plan to make her fall in love with him despite his disfigurement. But obviously Raoul comes into the picture and messes all that up.
So life lesson about Phantom of the Opera. Don't be concocting this grand master plan to try and get somebody to fall in love with you. Just be yourself. That's all you have to do.
But make sure she doesn't have a childhood sweetheart that jumps into the picture.
Well, if they do, then be a man and act out first. Be like, hey, yo, I'm gonna ask you out before he does. I'm the last person who should be talking about that, but you know what? Whatever. Anyway, so like cutting to like closer to the end.
Yeah, and so much of the scene where Raoul arrives at the lair and confronts the Phantom, and the Phantom starts to almost kill Raoul. None of that changed much between. There's not much difference between the film and the show.
Yeah.
Now, the only difference is.
What?
I have trouble when
somebody talk.
I have trouble when like three people are talking at once, but I noticed in the play I was able to understand them better.
Yeah. Mike, you can unmute yourself now.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's why they cast Christine, Raoul, and Phantom in the vocal ranges that they do, so that way they don't blend evenly. They don't make them all sopranos or tenors or baritones. They make them different vocal levels, so that way you can still make out what each person is singing at any given time. So like usually Christine's are sopranos. I think Raoul's are usually tenors or baritones.
I think it's a baritone.
Yeah, I think it's a baritone because the Phantom is a tenor.
Yeah.
And that's why they hire the singers that way. So that way, as they're singing their parts, their voices aren't blending and matching and you can't understand them.
Yeah. That's my big thing about operas is that they are kind of hard to understand what they're singing. But again, like there are some parts in operas where they have to sing it because if they speak it, it's just really weird.
Now, in the final song, or the final scene right before the Phantom escapes, that's a really a big change from the film and the show.
Yeah, I watched both of those like I think twice over.
So in the film, the Phantom sings, "It's over now, the music of the night." But then Gerard Butler picks up a candelabra and starts smashing all these mirrors in his lair.
Which I love. I just love small stuff like that.
And the last one he smashes has a hidden passageway behind it, and he walks through, and the curtain falls behind him. And that's the last we see of him, at least physically. But in the show, he sings the final note, and he's holding the tiara for Christine's dress. He drops it, and he goes over to his chair, and he pulls a blanket over himself. And now this is a magician's trick that magicians still use today. And it's similar to the one in Wicked that has all the Tin Man parts hidden inside it.
Oh, yeah.
So when he sits in the chair and he puts it over his head, it sticks out far enough that it covers his whole body. So you can't see him as he pulls the latches to slide into the chair and then put them back. But then I think how it goes is he pulls out the back first, slides inside, and then he pulls out the bottoms. That way he can lower his legs inside. And when he puts the bottom of the part that he sits on back up, he sets the prop mask on it, not the one he wears, but another mask on the seat, and then he puts the back in place, and he's just waiting back there. So then when Meg pulls down the blanket or the sheet, she finds the mask, holds it up, and then the spotlight slowly closes on the mask.
Yeah, the slider. Yeah, the sliders, which I forgot to talk about last week. The sliders is what controls how much light comes out of the camera. The
light.
Yeah.
It just slowly closes on the mask.
Yeah,
and then all the lights go out.
Yeah, blackout, and then the house lights come up, and then they do curtain call, which is always my favorite part. Because it's the only part you're allowed to record. What?
There was a slightly different scene in the film in that we see one more, or not a flashback, a flash forward scene.
Yeah, because isn't it like end with him at a grave tomb, a tomb?
So
with the rose on
the film of Phantom of the Opera, you see these flash forward scenes of Raoul as an elderly man, and he purchased the little monkey music box that the Phantom owned.
Yeah.
And all throughout the film, you see him buy the box, leave the opera house, and start driving somewhere.
Yeah.
And the final flash forward scene is him arriving at a graveyard, and he puts the music box on a grave, which turns out to be Christine's. And it says, beloved wife and mother. So clearly Raoul and Christine had a child together.
Maybe.
And we will get into that if we ever decide to do the sequel.
If we don't, then we'll probably just briefly mention it. Not sticking to
so Raoul has the music box in his lap. He gets up out of his chair and puts it on her grave. And then he kind of stands back and and he sighs.
Yeah.
And then he looks to one of the corners of her gravestone and notices a rose with a black ribbon tied around the stem. And then he kind of does a slow look around the graveyard. Like he feels the presence of the Phantom. Like he knows he's there somewhere.
Yeah.
Watching. And then the final shot of the film is the camera panning closer to the head of the rose.
Yeah.
And it slowly turns from black and white to red. And then it goes to the credits.
That was cool. I love them, but I do think would be like a little creepy aspect of it if instead of it panning on the rose, if it just panned over to the monkey and it slowly zoomed on the monkey and the monkey just magically started playing. Oh my gosh, that would freak me out.
Or if they had panned from the grave to somewhere off in the distance, and you just see a dark figure go behind a tree and disappear.
Oh, see, like with stuff like that, it's so easy to find a way to make it creepy. I feel like stuff like Phantom could definitely. I feel like Phantom could be definitely made into a good horror film if they were to do it.
Oh yeah,
it would be a good horror film.
Sorry, Michelle, we lost you for a little bit. So basically, we talked about the difference in how the Phantom disappears between the film and the show, and then the graveyard scene at the end of the film when Raoul brings the music box to Christine's grave.
So, does anybody have any last minute thoughts before we start talking about what we can be doing next week?
Nothing for me. Oh wait, I actually forgot. It wasn't just the ribbon.
I can't really see or hear y'all very well.
Because I remember right before Christine left with Raul in the film, before they left on his boat, she gave him back her original. I think she gave him back her engagement ring or his ring. And then when you see the rose sitting on the gravestone, the ring is also tied to the rose.
See, I think she ended up with the Phantom. That's why, because I was thinking about like, wait, didn't she gave him back the ring? So I don't know. So that's why I like that mystery. They don't really say who Christine was a wife to. They don't say if she was married to the Phantom or she married Raul. That's what I love about the mystery of it.
Well, hold on. Let me look up the gravestone because I think it does say the Countess du Chagny.
Okay, well, you go ahead and look that up.
It says wife and mother.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't know if she was the wife of the Phantom or if she was the wife of Raul because she gave Raul the ring back because she didn't want to marry him. What's the verdict, Mike?
Yeah, it says Christine, 1854 to 1917, Countess du Chagny, beloved wife and mother. So she did marry Raul.
Oh, well, there goes that.
And you'll know that, especially if you watch the sequel.
Yeah. So overall, what would you guys give like one between 1 and 5? 1 and 5 stars, what would you give? Like, not just because you like it, or like if you actually like think of it of like an actual critic, what would you give it?
The film, I would probably give a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Just because of some of the changes that they made from the show, but also with some of the grandness.
Mm-hmm. What about
and the scale of some of the other scenes?
Okay.
But now the show, I would easily give a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Just because in addition to the like amazing storyline and everything, but the singing ability of people.
Yeah.
In the show. So the thing with Emmy Rossum, who played Christine Daae in the film, is that she classifies herself as a lyric soprano. So the way her voice changes, it's based more on the words she's singing, hence lyric soprano. Versus Sierra Bogus, who played Christine in the 25th anniversary special, she is a classical operatic soprano.
Mm-hmm.
So she sings more based off of keys and octaves.
Yeah.
Of music. For example, the final note that she sings in Phantom of the Opera when the Phantom is telling her to sing over and over again is an E6, which is a very, very high note.
Of it, like nearly impossible note to hit. Only a few singers can hit that note flawlessly.
Mm-hmm. And that's the difference between a lyric soprano like Emmy and a classical/operatic soprano like Sierra. And that's the same. It's the same difference between Gerard, the film Phantom, and Ramin, the 25th anniversary Phantom. Is that now? That's not knocking Gerard Butler's singing. His Scottish accent with his rock and roll style vocals, I felt adapted very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was very good in the film. But hearing Ramin's classical operatic tenor style voice singing the songs they were meant to be sung makes it better for me. And that goes the same with Raul.
All right, Michelle, what about you? What would your ratings be?
I think I would have to agree with Mike because, it's supposed to be more operatic and everything because, it's Phantom of the Opera. But for me, your dream is to someday perform as Alphaba. My dream is someday to perform as Christine. But if I did, I think my singing voice is more close to Emmy. So I would have to do it in the style of the movie more than the show.
You would have to do it more lyrically. you'd have to do it more lyrically versus keys and octaves.
Yeah. Whereas mine's really like voice is really like, it doesn't have any high notes, which I like because I can't hit those high notes without sounding like a squirrel.
Well then, this probably isn't something you want to hear, but Liz, if you were to ever to do Phantom, you would probably be a good Madame Giry.
Oh!
Because Madame Giry doesn't sing a lot of very high notes. She sings kind of lower.
Yeah. Despite despite me having like a high pitched voice, I can't sing very high pitch. I have more like a lower, like think of Lydia from Beetlejuice. Like if you listen to the music from Beetlejuice, her voice, like Lydia's voice, is kind of like how I'm not as good as she is, but that's kind of like a good idea of like kind of explaining how my voice sounds. If you listen to Dead Mom, and you'll know what I mean.
Well, yeah, because like there's one line that the actress who played Madame Giry in the 25th anniversary special, she sings, "He will burn you with the heat of his eyes."
Yeah.
But it's still not very high. It's still fairly low in terms of how high a person could sing who is trained to do so. So I think you would do a good Madame Giry.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, although that's one little quick thing I want to notice between the Madame Giry in the show and the film. Madame Giry in the film is a lot more imposing, and you can tell that she runs shit around there.
Yeah, there's no slacking off. She has more of that intimidating look about her.
Versus in the film, she's more of a mother figure, both to Meg and Christine. Like from the moment you meet her in the show, when Monsieur Lefebvre, who is the retiring owner of the Opera Populaire, is trying to get everyone's attention. No one's listening to him, but as soon as he says Madame Giry, she walks out and she just slams her cane on the ground. Everyone shuts up.
Yeah, because she's like the woman you don't want to mess with. You want her as your friend, not your enemy.
To put it this way,
she's
and
like
pardon my language, Madame Giry is a boss ass bitch.
So what is her job position in the opera house?
I think she's the choreographer.
Yeah, because in the film, I think you hear it a little more. She was in the film when she first meets the Phantom as a boy, and when she was a girl, she was studying to be a ballerina in the opera house. So naturally, over the
years,
like I think 15, 20 years that passed between her hiding the Phantom in the opera house and the events.
Like I feel she was more of a motherly type in the film than in the play.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
They never distinctly said that,
I think she is meant to be the choreographer for the ballerinas, because like Mike said, as you get old about ballet, if you don't stick with it, it can get really hard to get back into it. So I think she eventually retired from ballet and ended up teaching it and at the opera house, and then along on the side of hiding the Phantom.
Especially
I think that she was more motherly in the film than on the Broadway play. It just seems that way because, like, for one, they never even really mention, like, oh, Meg is my daughter, and I think of Christine as a daughter as well, like they do in the film.
Well, I think it's supposed to be implied.
Well, because you have Madame Giry, and then Meg's name is Meg Giry. So they don't have to describe it quite as much in the show.
Yeah, because also if you look at the playbill, you can see the characters' names in the playbill.
But when Madame Giry is showing the owners a sequence of Hannibal with the dancers, with the ballet dancers, one of the owners kind of leers at Madame Giry's daughter, and Madame Giry puts a quick stop to that by saying, "My daughter, Meg Giry." But then they turn their attention to Christine. But in the film, she says, "I think of her as a daughter also." So Madame Giry was definitely a lot kinder in the film.
Yeah.
Like, there's the one line in the show where right before she gives Raoul's letter to Christine, before Raoul and Christine reunite, the ballerinas are talking to Christine and congratulating her after Hannibal. And she comes out, she says, Christine, she slams her staff, says Christine did well, but then chastises the ballerina. She says, "Such ronde de jambe, such ton de crease." So clearly, she's talking about certain dance moves where the ballerina's messed up.
I actually know what she's talking about because I learned those words.
And to rehearse it again.
So when she says a ronde de jambe is where basically they move it's like around. So
a pirouette.
Not sort of, yeah. Like you move your foot forward, then you go around, and then come back forward. I could show y'all, but I really don't want to. But okay. I was like, I actually emailed my teacher. I was like, hey, I watched Phantom of the Opera, and she used like language that you used in class, and I feel so smart because I know what she's talking about. But anyway, yeah.
So it's not quite the move that the slave master in the Hannibal sequence when he's literally bouncing on one leg and continually spinning around and around.
Yeah, that's a ronde de jambe.
But that's like an extended ronde de jambe because he's doing it over and over again.
I've been trying to learn how to do that, and it's very difficult to do that.
Because if you look at the foot that he has planted on the ground when he's spinning, he's literally going on his toes.
Yeah, you don't do that unless you've done ballet for a while because you can break your toe bone, the bones in your toes by doing that.
But he's only on his toe as he's spinning around.
Yeah.
When he gets back facing the audience, he plants his foot again and then pops back up on his toes. Yeah. So he's resting his foot with every spin. He's not continually staying on his toes. Because,
maybe I'll show y'all one day how they do it.
Yeah, it's like he could break his toes or...
Yeah,
in his foot, if he would stay on his foot like that.
I've done ballet, and it's very difficult. I personally do not like ballet.
I hear a chiller on your feet.
I took ballet when I was in elementary school. Part of me wish I kind of kept with it, but yeah, I still find myself doing ballet dance moves.
See, I'll do tap when I'm at work. Like, or if I'm at work behind I'm on the cash register, I'll do like my plies, my releves, my
Mike, I have no idea what she's saying.
Like when you go up on your toes, releves when you go up on your toes, plies when you like bend your knees. I mean, it literally means bend like you go plie like. I don't know how to describe. I don't know how to describe it without showing you, and I'd rather not show you guys because I'm not.
It's too late for that. It's too late for that.
Okay, but anyway, so any last minute thoughts before we quickly talk about next week?
Okay, so why do you guys think Box 5 was so important to the Phantom of the Opera?
What?
Why do you think
Box 5 was so important to the Phantom? I think it was just because of the view he had.
That, or maybe like it's because I guarantee you when he was little, like if I don't know about him, but if I was hiding out in the theater, like I would always sneak in and watch the shows that were there. So maybe that's the one he always snuck into whenever he would go and see a show, which does he's like, you know what, this is my box. This is where I sneak into because maybe a lot of people can't afford to have the boxes during these productions. And so
also, before the events of the actual musical, Monsieur Lefebvre used to pay the Phantom 20,000 francs a month and would always leave Box 5 open for him. So the Phantom just assumed that Box 5 was always going to be open for him no matter what. But then the new owners come in and mess everything up, and that doesn't help his mental state. But also, it's like, going back to Liz's point, as a boy, imagine he doesn't know the opera house that well. So he's running around. What if he comes across one of the rig masters who chases him and he ends up hiding in Box 5?
Yeah, there's probably
some deep significance to him.
So here's
in addition to the view it gives him of the stage.
Here's what I found online after searching. Why does the Phantom care so much about Box 5? It says perhaps there is a deeper symbolism. After all, the Phantom demanded that the box was his alone, to be kept empty and not shared with another. If the opera house was the Phantom's domain since childhood, and he was the ultimate ruler of it. Box 5 may be the symbol of his throne of authority or domain. So it's probably his throne.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was always curious, like, oh, if that was like the best spot to hear the music, plus also hide himself. Because I've seen in other Phantom of the Opera movies where he would actually be able to be in Box 5 and no one be able to see him. But they didn't do that in this. So I was just curious about that.
I like the throne idea because.
Although, what's funny to me is that I noticed in the 25th anniversary special, I think the box that the owners and Raul were sitting in when Christine was singing Think of Me, after they do the quick costume change to put her in the dress, that I'm pretty sure the box they were sitting in was Box 5.
Yeah, it was.
So if Box 5 was so important to the Phantom, and he planned that all out. Like the reason Carlotta.
Whatever Mike is saying, I can't see or hear him right now.
Okay, well, the reason Carlotta left was because the Phantom had dropped.
I've been dealing with this whole entire stream, so that's why I've been so quiet. Is because there's times where I can hear you, but then I can't hear him, or there's times where I can't hear or see both of y'all.
Basically, he's saying like how he planned the entire thing out. So in the 25th anniversary, how the box that they were sitting in when Christina was singing "Think of Me," they were singing in Box 5, and he probably knew that they were going to do that, and he planned everything out.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if Box 5 was so important for him.
Yes.
With everything the Phantom had planned out, why wouldn't he sit in Box 5 to see Christine's debut?
I don't know. But maybe he planned on it, and because they were sitting in Box 5, he's like, "Oh, you're in my seat. You're in my chair. Get out of my chair before I pour porridge on you." I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they kind of explain it in the film because when you see Christine singing "Think of Me," the camera goes down through the orchestra pit, through a vent, through the floor, and then it comes out, I'm guessing somewhere under the opera house, and you see the Phantom standing there listening through the vent and the crack in the floor.
So okay, something else we haven't talked about.
Sorry. What? So maybe he knew after he dropped the backup on Carlotta that he had to lay low.
Michelle?
I was trying not to interrupt Mike. Was his face. Okay, in the Broadway production, he has like you could see part of his skull. And in the play, it's more like a burn or a bunch of bumps or bruises or something.
Okay, I could probably answer that. Here's the thing. So in the Broadway show, obviously it's more dramatic and more gory or grim.
It's like a flesh wound.
Yeah, I feel like the reason why they dialed it back in the movie, because kids like me would be watching it and would get nightmares because like seeing an injury like that, because I guarantee you, because seeing
there would have been a lot gorier in the film.
Yeah, seeing as like this, there is actually no like real sexual.
Personally, I would have taken the whole seeing his bone or his brain out of it. I wouldn't have put that in there. I would have just had the bumps and the bruises.
See,
well, I don't think it was brain. I think it was just like a random piece of flesh that was in the middle of that.
It wasn't his brain, because in order to if that was the case, he'd be dead. Your brain cannot be exposed to air without it getting infected and you dying. It won't work. Because it will dry out, and then that part of your brain would stop working, and it could so it's flesh, it's not brain.
Yeah, because think about it. If you take that prosthetic and put it into a film, they could get a lot more detailed and gorier with it. So you'd actually see muscle and veins, and everything, and that would traumatize a child.
Yeah, because there is, like I'm saying, there was no really sexual content. There wasn't really anything too in what's the word I'm looking for? Inappropriate for a child to see. So a kid could watch this and be absolutely okay with it, except for like the intense scenes. And so that's why I think it's rated PG-13. I don't think it's rated R.
Yeah, I think it's PG-13.
So
but I brought this up to you guys in our group chat that in the book, the original book by Gaston Leroux, Il Fantôme et l'Opéra, is that I think he was working in a print shop, and one of the prints exploded and threw hot ink over his face and burned him. And so I think they used more of the book version of the Phantom compared to the show one.
Yeah, they kind of pay tribute to the book.
I actually found the book and I have it. I just haven't read it yet.
I honestly might read it because it does sound like an interesting book. But to like, don't mean to like cut this short, but this is like over 2 hours long. So, but like overall, I respect the Phantom of the Opera. It's not my favorite, but I respect it as a show, and I think it deserves all the awards that it's won over the years. It deserves the longest running Broadway show. It deserves that title because it's a fact. But
the score, the lyrics, the costuming,
oh my God,
art and the message in it is.
Yeah, overall the whole production itself is just so beautifully well done, and we talked about last week how some Broadway shows shouldn't be made into movies, but I think Phantom is one of those ones they did a very good job with turning it into a movie.
Mm-hmm. And but I do gotta say, changing it to a movie, I'm glad they didn't do it exactly like the Broadway show.
Yeah.
Because then it just would have been the Broadway show.
I still want a sequel movie. I'm just saying
film.
that.
See, that goes into my thing with Wicked, which we will get into when we do Wicked. But with the sequel to the movie, I want the original people from that movie, or I don't want it at all. Then you ain't gonna get it at all, sweetheart.
I'm sorry, that movie came out in 2004.
Sorry, I want to see Gerard Butler as Phantom of the Opera again.
Then you can kiss that movie goodbye, because that's not going to happen. The movie was made in 2004, so that cast is very different now.
Let's put it this way, Michelle. Emmy Rossum.
They could have done it when the movie was like the 10th anniversary or whatever. That would have been the perfect time to do it.
You have to keep in mind they have to look at the everyone who you want to come back. They have to look at their schedule and make sure they're not working on another project. They need to see if they want to do it, if they have the money for it, if they need the rights. They need to do all of this. There's a whole bunch of steps before they even start making the script for a movie. So. And on top of that, I think isn't that the woman who played Christina in the movie? What's her name again? I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I was just about to get into that. So Emmy Rossum, who played Christine in the film.
Emmy something.
Her voice is not at the same level. Her voice is not at the same level as it was back then. Just like with Idina Menzel, their voices change after doing this, and having to sing these songs over and over again by filming. It could damage your voice. So I don't know if it has, but like.
That's with film is they go in and they record the song, and when they're shooting the scenes, they just lip sync.
Yeah, but even then, still, I feel like it's best for them if they want to bring it on Broadway, by all means, go on ahead. But just, I say, don't turn it into a movie.
Well, yeah, because to Michelle's point about bringing back the original cast, so Gerard Butler, Patrick Wilson, Emmy Rossum. Emmy Rossum was 16 when they filmed Phantom. And it's 16 years later. She is 32 years old. So you have to imagine she's gone older. I think she's a mother at this point, and her voice probably isn't the same.
What?
And her voice probably isn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to take that into account. And then Gerard Butler too. He's in his. I think Gerard Butler and Patrick Wilson, the Phantom and Raoul, are about the same age. So they have to be in at least their 50s by now.
Maybe let's say maybe mid-50s, I'd say.
Hey, a girl can still dream, can't she?
Yeah, because I think in the behind the scenes they said whenever Emmy had to kiss Patrick or Gerard for whenever Christine kissed Raoul or the Phantom, that she was kissing men almost twice her age.
Yeah.
So I think Gerard and Patrick were probably in their early, maybe mid-30s at the latest when they were filming Phantom.
Yeah,
so imagine they got to be in their early mid-50s by now.
Yeah.
So their singing is probably forget it. Their voices are probably non-existent at this point.
Also, they probably don't either. It's like one of those things where once you're done with this project, you want to move on from it. You're proud of the first movie. Okay, cool, we did it. Let's move on. They don't want to have to come back and also I think. Right now, with the time arrow that we're in right now, I don't think it would do really well in the box office. I honestly do not think it would do good at all. Not because it won't do good. It's just because the people of this time they wouldn't appreciate it as much as if they'd done it or way back in 2010.
And like Michelle said, if they'd done it on on the 5th anniversary of when Phantom came out, or the 10th anniversary. So like if they'd released it in 2009, 2014, it probably would have done a bit better.
Yeah.
And their singing abilities probably wouldn't have changed too much. But I think we've gone on too long for a film sequel to Phantom of the Opera.
That's still a question I'm going to ask them, though. If I ever get to meet anyone from the cast, I would ask them, if there was to be a sequel, would you be interested in doing it?
I'll be sure
just to have a peace of mind if they would do it.
Okay.
Or it's like, had there been talks of a sequel, would you have been willing to do it?
I guarantee you there's an interview somewhere with them asking them that. I guarantee you it.
Well, I'm going to take a shot in the dark here. I'm betting they would say, if it had been 10 years ago or something, then yes. But time is...
But now, like, some of them have kids, some of them have other jobs. Like, they can't just drop what they're doing and come back and do this movie. And
also, you think about with all the action movies that Gerard Butler has been in, and all the possible stunt accidents that he's been in. So, like, he does a lot of shouting in his movies, so you have to think about how that damages his voice.
Yeah.
He probably can't sing as well as he used to.
So we're gonna like wrap this up now because again we've been going on for almost 2.5 hours. About
the same as the last one.
What?
About the same as the first one.
Yeah, fair. But just briefly talk about next week. What shows would you guys like to? What shows would you guys want to do next week? What show would you guys want to do next week? Because we already talked about maybe waiting to do Adams or Beetlejuice, whichever one we don't do. Now we're going to do closer to Halloween.
Well, I think since we started off with Andrew Lloyd Webber, I think we should continue with another one of his, Les Miserables.
Oh yeah, that's right. We could do that.
But we're not doing Cats.
No, Cats is out of the question. I'm not watching that movie.
I recently bought the movie.
Why?
Because I didn't see it when it came out in theaters.
Bootleg it. Don't pay for it. Bootleg it. I could literally get you a bootleg copy of that movie. You have wasted your money.
The Broadway production's better.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay, I'm sorry. And now this is even a stretch to say.
Oh, I'm not done yet, Mike.
But
I feel like I saw Cats in theaters. I feel like I got a tumor in my head from watching that movie. I feel like that movie gave me cancer. It is such a bad movie. And I know that's not something funny to joke about, but I know how bad it is. I got a stomachache and a migraine from watching that movie. It was garbage. The music's great, don't get me wrong, but the movie itself was garbage. Okay, I'm done. Mike, go ahead.
I liked the storyline.
I was going to say, and even this is a stretch to say, but the star power in the film adaptation was the only thing that saved it.
Yeah.
And even that's a stretch.
Like I said, the cast was great. The music was great. It was the way they made it is what made me mad. They looked so creepy and terrifying. And also, it's just constant singing.
And also, like, the CGI was weird.
The CGI was so bad.
It didn't even look good.
It was so bad.
Now, the practicality of some of the sets, making everything oversized, that was decent. Because that's how it is in the musical. Everything is bigger because they're meant to be the size of cats.
Yeah, but like they made them. I feel like the size comparison was they made them look like they were little itty bitty kittens, not like regular sized cats.
Or almost mouse size, honestly, with how big some of the props and effects were in the film.
Yeah. Okay. But back to doing what show would you guys want to do next week? I
vote Les Mis.
Michelle. Brianna, since you're in here, you have
I'm good for the Les Miserables as long as because I've seen the anniversary one, but with the anniversary of it, they're just like they're not doing actual play. They're like talking to a microphone and then they would move and everything. So to see actual production of it, you would have to send me some kind of link to it because I have the movie with Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman and Sacha Baron Cohen as the master of the house.
Okay. Wait, what? Oh yeah. Okay. So here's what I think.
Borat.
So we all have access to the movie, right? I do have.
Yeah, I think my mom owns both.
Which hold up now, okay? Hold up now, because there's only two types I'm willing to watch, and that's the movie, and I do have a copy of Les Miserables, with Casey Levy as Fantine.
Ooh. I can't see or hear y'all right now.
But I do. So I have that copy of Les Miserables, and we obviously all have access to the movie. So here's my thing. I feel like we should focus on either one or the other, not both.
Instead of doing a compare and a contrast, just focus on one.
Yeah, because that's kind of what this is about. Is like kind of like showing how they did these kind of things in theater and stuff.
Well, since it's Theater 101, I think we should focus more on the stage versions.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Even though I do admit the movie is fabulous.
Oh yeah.
Because it has my girl Helena in it, and I freaking love Helena Bonham Carter as much as the next person. But
yeah, I have to say my favorite song in Les Mis, whether in the film or the show, is "Master of the House."
Mine's "Master of the House" on my own.
But now I do have to say the anniversary show they did at the Royal Albert Hall, like Phantom, I love that they had Lea Salonga.
Who?
Lea Salonga was the singing voice for Mulan and Jasmine in the animated film and Mulan.
Who did she play? Did she play Cosette or?
Yeah, I can't hear or see y'all right now.
I can't remember if she was Fantine or Cosette.
So I can drop you guys the link for the copy of Les Mis that I have.
I forgot. Lea Salonga also did Miss Saigon.
Oh, I love Miss Saigon.
Yeah, waiting on the concert.
But at least the version I have, we have a free copy of, and also the one with Casey's like really good. So.
Oh, okay. Actually, they were really good. There was really good casting in this. So Norm Lewis, who has also played King Triton in The Phantom on Broadway, he was Javert. Lea Salonga was Fantine. Matt Lucas, who was the Tweedles in the live-action Alice in Wonderland movies.
Mm-hmm.
He was Thénardier, the master of the house. Ramin Karimloo, the Phantom for 25th.
Hopefully this signal comes back on soon, because I cannot see or hear y'all at all.
I think is how you say his name.
Who played Jean Valjean?
Alfie Boe. B-O-E.
What about Cosette? Who played Cosette in
Katie Hall.
Wait, what?
Katie Hall.
Oh.
But
what
now,
about Eponine? Who played Eponine?
Eponine? Samantha Bart.
Oh!
Yeah, but there was another 25th anniversary Phantom cast member on this cast.
Who?
Hadley Frazier, who was Raoul, was Grantaire, I think is how you say his name.
Oh.
Grantaire.
Yeah.
Grantaire or something.
Okay, so we'll agreed on Les Miserables next week. So we're gonna watch either the we're watching the theatrical production, right?
Yep. So if I can find a bootleg version of the actual show,
I have it. Don't worry, I got it.
Okay, share that to me, and I'll watch the 25th anniversary special that my mom owns.
Why? Oh, okay, because it's the same thing. Okay, so yeah, I'll send y'all the link to the one with Casey in it. And if y'all want to go ahead and watch the movie, just so you can understand the lyrics of the music better, by all means.
I've never seen the movie, so I really want to see it.
It's such a good movie. I will say Anne Hathaway was not the best Fantine. I'm not gonna lie. But if you want to watch the movie, Michael, I'll be more than happy to watch it with you because I freaking love it and it's such a good movie. It's the one movie that I've been renting over and over again. I don't know why I just don't go and buy it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. To me, Hugh Jackman, in terms of his Broadway career, he will always be Gaston for the Australian cast of Beauty and the Beast.
See, me, it's gonna be Jean Valjean.
Look, even Michelle's like, she's like one of the bimbettes.
Oh, straight people.
All she needs is a blonde wig.
Straight people.
Hey, that's, well, I was gonna say sexist, but
really, is that really though? Okay, so
I don't know what the term is for discriminating against someone based on their orientation.
What was really discriminating?
Well, whatever.
Wait, what is, okay. So, oh shit.
You almost done fucked up. Sorry, my friend.
So y'all make sure you check out the Mike and Michelle, and even though Brianna was not in the chat, in the video chat, she was in the chat box, but all three of the links for their channels are down in the description below. Be sure.
Well, we all had Brianna right here.
Huh? Yep. I could have done something right then, but no, I'm not gonna do it. I feel like that'd be racist. So, oh hey, Brianna, great group movie night.
Yeah, if we can all get Skype, we can probably all watch the Les Mis 25th concert together. Or
I know how to do that. I have a thing because me and Kyle and Ariel did it for Star Wars Day, so I can set that up for us as well. Yes. We can do that next week. So y'all be sure you're back here. What day is it? It's Wednesday, right? Yeah, Wednesday. So be sure to be back here Wednesday at 7 for our Les Miserables show. Wait, are you working?
Oh yeah, my schedule for next week actually just came out. Let me check it just to make sure I have that day.
Watch, he's gonna be working Wednesday. I'm already gonna call it.
Nope, I work 6 to 2 p.m.
All right, so be back here Wednesday at 7 for the next episode of Les Miserables, and then after Les Miserables, I say we do Frozen, just because the show is closing, and no, wait, oh my god, no, next week's my thing with Casey. It's on a Thursday at 5 o'clock, and I was like, oh wait, we do this thing at 7, so I'd be able to tell you guys all about it. Never mind. You guys are gonna have to wait 2 weeks before I can tell you guys about my lesson with Casey.
Yeah, definitely let us know how that goes.
I'm very excited. I hope I can actually learn something from her, which I guarantee I will, and I hope I don't humiliate myself in front of her. But we'll see how that goes, and I guarantee you I will.
Fingers crossed and prayers that you don't embarrass.
No fangirl.
I'm not gonna fangirl, okay? She's there to help me work, and we're there to work. That's what's gonna happen.
Michelle, between you and me, I bet $10 she fangirls.
I bet you 20 I don't.
Hey, this deal's between me and Michelle.
I don't think so. I think she'll want to. I think she'll want to. But I think she won't.
I'm willing to bet after she does her lesson with Casey, she's gonna keep it all inside until after the lesson is over, and then she's just gonna go batshit bananas. She's just gonna lose her shit.
Yeah, he's done.
Nope. Michelle, have you ever seen that movie, The Mask?
With Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the scene with
Jim Carrey? Yeah.
Do you remember the scene right after he smashes the clock and sees the landlady, and he starts bouncing down the hallway before he jumps out the window?
Yes. Yes.
Liz is gonna be bouncing around her room like that.
You know,
and now she's probably not gonna jump out the window, but she's gonna be bouncing around her room. She's gonna be bouncing on the walls and the ceiling and everything.
But you know, I will attempt. Oh, we want to also. Okay, so here's another thing I could do is tell her like, "Hey, bye."
But yeah, I think we can figure out everything with our next one, like off the stream, because the connection.
2 hours and 40 minutes here.
Yeah. I can tell her, "Hey, I'm doing a live stream about the Broadway Frozen show. If you want to jump by and just watch it for a little bit, so maybe we can get Casey to come and watch it."
Oh yeah, and Liz, I'll message you my buddy Irvin's Instagram.
Yeah, he followed me.
And see if he wants to get in on the Les Mis
So next week, you guys, is Les Miserables Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And we will discuss, and then I guess after that we'll do Frozen.
Well, hang on. I'm gonna send a video to Urban. Say that again.
Say what?
What time we're doing Les Mis?
So we're gonna be here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. doing Les Miserables. So if you want to get in on it, Irvin, just message me and I'll add you to the group chat so you can become part of our cast. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this. You guys, thanks for watching, I guess, and we'll see you guys back here next Wednesday. You guys want to say bye before I peace out? I'm gonna go ahead and end this. You guys, thanks for watching, I guess. Want to say peace out, y'all? We're about to end it.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you guys for watching. We love you all. Thank you for supporting us. I'm having a fun so far with this series, and I think this is
definitely helping me.
I think we can only get better from here.
Yeah. So
it's so good to get to talk about all these musicals and plays, and it's so good to talk about all this.
Yeah. So yeah, spread the word.
Friends who love musicals as much as I do.
Oh, just
and a theater major to boot.
Just wait till we do Adams. Oh my God, I'm gonna lose my mind. Oh wait, me and Mike already watched Adams Family.
Yeah, we did watch it once, but that was kind of a lower end.
Yeah. So
production of it.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean a low end? That's like the best HD version you can get of it.
Well, yeah, camera quality was fine, but in terms of like the set production,
it was a college production. What did you expect? Like top of the line Broadway stuff? It wasn't like an official Broadway production. It was like a high school production. So
okay, well, let's wrap this up and we'll talk about this in the green room.
All right. Anyway, so peace out, you guys. Have a great night. We'll see you guys here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. for Les Miserables.
Later, guys. Orlando Mike out.